Now that the walls are up, it is time to wallpaper. This pattern for the hallway I found on a website called longforgotten.com, and it was a tile. So all I had to do was set up my program to complete the tile across the sheet, print that out on my inkjet printer, and cut it to size. Once I have it cut out to about what I want, then I'll just do a quick test fit. Careful lining up the pattern so that it fits just properly. And then I use this spray adhesive. It worked okay. I wasn't super thrilled with it, but I've used PVA glue in the past and got a lot of like warpage to the paper. So I decided to try this spray adhesive. And sometimes it sticks really well, sometimes it doesn't stick too very well. So it's not something I'm really happy. I'm not sure that I'll use it again. But once I get this piece laid down, then I'm just gonna trim it off to fit the back end. But here we go. This is what it looks like so far. I really like it. Here's a better look at the piece with all of its wallpaper in place. Now the foyer wallpaper is supposed to be a very large print. I had a hard time actually finding something I thought looked like the Haunted Mansion wallpaper. I finally ended up settling on this. I thought it looked really good. It was now time to start painting some of the set pieces for the foyer. Here I am painting the armchair. I printed out a number of different reference photos so that I knew what colors everything was. And that chair is kind of this fuchsia pink color. And I really had to mix a lot before I got to a color that I really liked. On the right hand side of the photo, you can see I am starting to detail the knight, and his shield is now gold. In the future here, I'm going to paint on some details on that shield which make it look a little bit more like the shield that is in the Haunted Mansion. Now there's a white detailing that goes on this chair, and it's like a piping that goes across the back and the edges of the chair that make the chair look like it has a face. Some people even say it kind of looks a little bit like Donald Duck. So I found my sharpest paintbrush and then put on my magnifying glasses and went to town on trying to get this piping to look exactly correct. Now that the chair is done and looking pretty awesome, it's time to add those details to the shield. And lastly, I wanted to put a little bit of gold detailing on the doors. All right, the hallway is really starting to look like the Haunted Mansion's hallway now. The chair and armor and those doors are starting to make it all come together. And you'll notice that I put the runner down the center of the hallway. That was also another graphic that I downloaded, and I believe I got it from longforgotten.com. And I had to Photoshop it quite a bit to get it to look exactly the way I wanted it to, but it worked out very nicely. Today's the big chore. I have to cut the mirror. Now the mirror is fine because it's glass and it's actually fairly cheap to buy, so I'm not too worried about messing the mirror portion up. But the plexiglass two-way mirror, one-way mirror, whatever you want to call it, that one's a little bit more difficult because it's expensive. And if I mess the cut up, well, that's it. That's that. I have to buy another one. So here we go. We'll put my glass cutting skills to a test. First thing that I want to do here is measure up exactly how wide I want the glass to be. Then I'll use a straight edge to just mark my glass. This is a scoring tool that's designed for cutting glass, and you'll just follow the line with the little metal wheel on the end of the scoring tool. It'll make a small crack in the glass that'll make it much easier to break. The glass will actually want to break right along the edge of the scored line. Once the scoring is complete, put on your safety glasses and your gloves, and then move the glass right up to the edge of your table and clamp it down really good. You want the edge of the table right on the score. And then just push. And there you go. Got your cut glass. Looks really good. Now I just need to fit it in there and see if I actually cut this correctly. I got the top edge of the glass trimmed off, and then I just really quickly used a hot glue gun to glue it down into place. Now for the scarier portion, I'll cut this plexiglass. So like the mirror, I'm going to mark exactly where it needs to be cut. I think I'm going to place it like right about there. So the way I'm going to try to do this is very similar to how I cut the glass. I'm going to score it, and once I've scored it, then I'm going to crack it in half. I've left the protective film on it so that I don't mess up the finish on the glass. I'm going to use a slightly larger straight edge. Now, with glass, you'll use a tool something like this. with plexiglass, we can use a razor blade. And we want to keep it very straight here. So I hit it about 7 times. We'll call that lucky 7. Now to snap this, we don't want to snap on the short side. We want to actually hold and snap on the long side to keep the stress fractures from running up. At least that's what I was told. So I'm going to run this over to the edge of my table and then clamp it down. Like that, and then I should be able to snap it, and look at that. I snapped it wrong and broke it.
Missed it by that much.
So we're going to call that failure number 1. And I think for the next one, what I'll do is I'm going to score it from both sides and then snap it. Okay, let's try her again. I messed this one up. Now I have to order a new piece. And just like before, I'm going to snap from the wider side. Just like right on the edge there where I want to snap. Oh, that looks so much cleaner.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
I did mess this side up, but I think that's going to be okay. Let's bring this back over. Okay, so it's actually probably, no, I think it's going to be perfect. I was afraid it was going to be too wide, but it's actually perfect. All right. The second mirror is seated in place. I have the lights off now. Let's see how the effect looks. That just looks perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. So now it's really starting to come together. So in the next episode, I'm going to be finishing up some of the props in the foyer and then getting all the lighting dialed in exactly the way I want it, get it wired up, and maybe start to seal this baby up. So until next time, you keep watching and I'll keep building.